Once again, I'm Chris, and welcome to the Goesting Thuis Takeover. We're super excited to be sharing this 6-pack of awesome beers with you. We've got ours ready. Hope you do too. So the fun part begins now. The tasting. Woo! Now, a couple notes about that. We're going to go through 6 different beers, and we've got an order picked out that's going to make them all really shine. But a couple notes about that are the 2 last beers, the Glen Noble and the Cocoa Banger BA. These 2 should be above fridge temperature. So I would recommend you pull them out now so that they're around about 12 to 16 degrees when we go to tasting. Without further ado, let's begin. So first up, we have Neukölln. This is one of our newest releases, and this is a winter seasonal blackcurrant Berliner Weisse. We love blackcurrants over here in Estonia. They're full of this sort of rich tartness, but they've got a lot of jammy sweetness to them as well. They're extremely complicated berries. They give an amazing color, as you can see, even the foam being pink. And there's a lot of complexity to it that we think works great with the sourness of a Berliner Weisse. So we're brewing this one to be sort of super smooth, super creamy, really, really drinkable. So we've used a load of oats in here, we've used a little bit of wheat, and that gives it this sort of body. There's also quite a lot of, like with our Prenzlauer Berg, we're using lactose in here, a milk sugar that provides a sort of creaminess that just doesn't go away, and a rich sweetness to balance out all of the blackcurrant acidity. So for me, as soon as you taste this, you're getting really these blackcurrant sort of fruit juice. It takes me a little bit back to childhood, actually, all these flavors going on in here. You've got a hint of jamminess. You've got sort of slight bits of clove as well. But all throughout, you've got this sweet, rich, tangy blackcurrant jam flavor going on there. This is one beer that we've been working towards for quite a while, because blackcurrants are some of our favorite fruits and berries that we can get a hold of. They're in season for quite a while over here, and everyone looks forward to them. So we've used them in small quantities in other beers in the past, but we've never managed to load a beer up with as many as we have this one here, where we're using, per batch, we're using around about 1 ton of blackcurrants. We always are believers in trying to use as much as you can of something. So what we do to get the sort of that awesome blackcurranty flavor in here is we've got a massive juice press over here. We'll load it all up with those berries, all those currants, and we'll squeeze every last drop out of there. The skins, we're then going to boil them so that you can still extract a lot of the color, a lot of the hints of tannins that you get in there. But then the juice is all saved for is almost all saved for the fermentation, so that you can get the maximum aroma and flavor out of it. And this one is at 5.5 ABV, so it's got just enough in there to make sure that you can really feel that body going on. We're going to switch over to Kirg, which means passion in Estonian. Now Kirg, this is a beer that we first released several years ago, but we brought it back just this year because for us, when we weren't able to travel as much as we wanted, then we thought we need something that reminds us of summer, of sun, of tropical paradises. So this here is a passion fruit and blood orange IPA. This is a beer that has now become a hazy IPA because we really feel like those big fruit characters and big hop forward notes really complement these fruits extremely well. So as you can see, it's a fairly light sort of straw yellow color over here, just enough haze in there. This one is on the nose. You can just immediately feel those fruits just everywhere. Right now that passion fruit is just luring you and it's just encouraging you to dive in but you still get, what I love is you still get these sort of hoppy notes, really reminding you that this is a beer. This is still beer. This is not fruit juice. And at 6%, this one is still dangerously drinkable. So the zest of the blood orange is really coming through. That pulpy, sort of slightly sour passion fruit tropical notes are coming in. And a good splash of the Citra hops thrown in there for good measure. Now this one, like I say, is more of a hazy style IPA. But what this is also using is, this is the very first time that we were ever using lactose in an IPA. Back before these milkshake IPA, hazy things were a big thing, then we kind of realized that that little bit of sweetness that really complements those sort of big, juicy, bold hops. And this is a beer that, like I say, we absolutely love, and we're really happy we could bring it back again this summer, this season. Anyway, moving on from this one, we're going to keep that theme going, and we're going to go for yet more fruity, juicy, big beers. We're going to really sort of build up to the big, dark, barrel-aged characters. Thank you very much. And now, we're going to move on to Prenzlauer Berg, one of our classics. So Prenzlauer Berg is another Berliner Weiss, just like the Neukölln. And you might recognize a theme going on in there, because for our Berliner Weisses, we name them all after districts in Berlin. Our designer used to live there and is well acquainted with it, and very often the labels for these Berliner Weisses are a sort of compilation or so of various shots from these districts inside Berlin. So Prenzlauer Berg, this is more our summer sort of, almost year-round, but mainly focusing on the summer, raspberry-flavored Berliner Weisse. So here we're using huge amounts of raspberries in a special tank, in a tank that we specially designed on the brewing side just for these big berry additions. You can see that by the color, just the sharp redness of it. And it's our sort of homage to the childhood thing of going around your grandmother's garden and just scooping up raspberries by the handful and smashing them in your face. At least that's what I used to get up to. So you can smell, and you get this sweet raspberry character, this little like jammy notes going on, but at the same time, there's that little sourness, that little hint of, there's also the creamy body that we put into our Berliner Weisses, gives it almost like almost a hint of like a vanilla ice cream coated in this raspberry jam, raspberry syrup. Just sour enough to make you to make it thirst quenching, as all Berliner Weisses should be. This is really packing that sort of big fruity punch, and it's a beer that we really love to keep around as much as we can, because in much the same way as some of our other beers do, this one really reminds us of the summer. It's one where we love to see it in our tap room, which you can hopefully visit sometime soon. We know exactly when summer has arrived, because suddenly we see people all across the decking, all in the tap room, just their glasses are red, and we love that. It's just such a feeling of awakening in the world. This is a beer where it truly is just a love affair to the raspberry. We love that. We love raspberries. What more to say? Let the fruit speak for itself, and enjoy this beer. This one is also including that same lactose, so it has that creamy body sort of reinforced by that. To be honest, I might take a little bit longer on this one. This is...
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, be my guest, because the next one is a cracker. So coming up next is Singing Sands. This has been one of our favorite releases all year round, and partly the reason why is because doing things with your friends is always some of the best feelings in the world. So Singing Sands is a collaboration between ourselves and Lervig from Stavanger in Norway. Now they were coming over and we were brewing a larger beer going into barrels, which you'll hopefully be tasting next year around festival seasons. But we also decided, whilst they're over, let's not just brew one beer, but let's brew two beers. Let's brew one that will be ready when it's ready, and let's brew one that we can enjoy whilst it's still light and sunny outside. So, of course, we had to go for a big hazy double IPA. Sitting at about 8.5%, this is using the most amount of hops we'd ever used in a beer before. It's a fairly straightforward malt base, and that gives just this light, simple, crisp, clear-looking beer. It's around about 250 kilos of Citra in the dry hop, and another almost 30 kilos in the whirlpool per brew. And you can smell that immediately as you put your nose up there. You just get this massive waft of overripe mango, sort of tropical hints of pineapple. You get absolutely all of this here. It just demands you to sit down and drink me. And that is exactly what you should be doing right now. So as the aroma is kind of luring you in, you just get these big, sweet, hoppy characters. There's a little bit of bitterness in there as well. This is a single hop to double IPA. This is only using Citra because, much like some of the other beers we've tasted where we just let one ingredient do the talking, this is one where we decided to take Citra in several different forms and just add it every single stage of the way and see what is the purest expression of this hop. This is a beer where we spent a load of time beforehand preparing for it, but honestly, all we really wanted was a beer that would just remind us of those long, lazy days with friends, doing what really matters, which is making great beers together. So, to more collaborations, this is our cheers to that. Yeah. Now we're going to move on to those real heavy hitters that I was talking about. We're following this up with another collaboration. This one is Glen Noble, our collaboration with Scotland's very own Tempest brewery from the Borders. And whereas our previous beer, Singing Sands, embodies some of the newest style of thinking about beer, this is one where we really took a step back into history and we really wanted to brew something that was inspired by what's around us, inspired by where we come from as people and as brewers, and really make this a love affair to what they used to do and how we are doing things these days. So, without further ado, I'm going to crack this one open. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with our Wax Cellar Series bottles, then there are a couple of great tips on how to open them. We often all have our own different way, but one that I can recommend to you with a slightly warmer bottle is you'll take it in your hand just like this. You just want to keep holding it for just 10-15 seconds, just enough around the cap of the wax so that it'll soften. And what you can do then is, as you can see, the wax has warmed up a little. You take your bottle opener, boom, and it comes off nice and clean. We are big lovers of the wax bottles over here. They're excellent for aiding our purpose of having these beers be cellarable and ageable for as long as you wish to keep them, because they prevent extra oxygen going inside there to the best of our abilities. And you get to have a lot of fun with them as well, because as you can see, we play around with these colors. It doesn't all have to be sort of stayed same red wax like you might often see in the high class things. It can be a bit of fun as well. So anyway, Glen Noble, coming from a snifter glass like this. This is, as I myself am originally from Scotland, and Tempest are also from Scotland, then we kind of wanted to draw upon that heritage. Scotch whisky is a big part of who we both are as brewers, and we wanted to make a love affair to that. So this is using a 160 shilling ale recipe, a traditional style of beer from the past of Scotland, from around about the 1700s, from an old brewery there. And we pulled out absolutely all the stops we could to make this as authentic whilst updating it for the modern world. So we used British malt, we used yeast from a brewery in Edinburgh that we grew up ourselves, and we used the same amount of hops that they would have used, same amount and same types of hops that we would have used way back in the day. It was a hell of a lot more than we expected it would be, I'll tell you that. But that was all for the benefit of having a beer that could really age over the long months that this spent in barrels. So enough further ado, and let's actually drink the thing first. So, Slange, cheers, Takeover 6. And this has got all of these big nutty flavors, rich toffee, malt, caramel, despite the fact that it's only made up of about 2 to 3 different types of malt. It has so much complexity going on in there. It was boiled for about 3 hours. The whole brew day took far longer than we expected. I guess they had a lot more time back in the olden days. And then it's been rested in two different types of Scottish whiskey barrels, along with some Estonian wildflower honey to make it sort of our own mark. This is a beer that we really believe will cellar well for many years to come, but at the same time, I'm not entirely sure that my own supplies will last that long because it's just so good as it is. Okay, I think now we're getting towards the last beer. So let's move on and let's keep this tempo of barrel-aged stuff going on. So coming up next is Cocoa Banger Barrel Aged. Now Cocoa Banger is a beer name that might seem familiar to you. It's a beer that we've been brewing for several years now in a non-barrel aged form. And it's a coffee and coconut imperial stout. The concept behind our Banger series is that we keep the base beer relatively similar, but then we make tweaks to different ingredients. We've released ones such as Forest Banger using items from the Estonian forests, juniper branches, rowan berries, and our most demanded one has always been Cocoa Banger. The coffee and coconut just work wonders in here. So what did we want to do this year is we wanted to amp all that up a notch, and we wanted to put in even more coffee, even more coconut, but then age this in American rye whiskey barrels. We got them freshly emptied, and the results sat in there for months and months until we really felt that the decadence factor in this beer had just been amped up and up and up. So this is a beer where it is definitely best open this at the beginning of the night and just let it carry you forward for the whole rest of it. You're going to get those massive toasted coconut notes escaping from the glass before you even bring it up to your nose, to be honest. You're going to get hints of those coffee, it's almost espresso liqueur-ish. And then you have all that big whiskey in the background as well, just giving its sort of support structure to everything. But every single element is still remaining in balance, it's still in its place, and it all just comes to this dreamlike liquor that you have in front of you. It's thick, it's malty, it's slightly roasty, it's sweet, it's got red fruits going on, it's got cascara, it's got toffee, it's got coffee, it's got coconut, it has it all. This is a beer that is excellent fresh, demands your attention right away, but at the same time you can get a feeling of wanting to know just how well these flavors will all last and age as this beer goes on in its life. Now this is the very first time that we've ever put a Banger style beer into barrels, but I can tell you now that it's almost certainly not the last, based on just how much we've enjoyed this beer. And I think it's a real testament to what our philosophy is with barrel aging, where we're putting like for like. We're not just putting any beer into any barrel. No, what we're doing is we are picking out months in advance the type of barrels that a particular beer is going to go into. Cocoa Banger with those coconut notes, with that coffee sort of texture going on, it demands something that has got that sweetness like American oak does, but also has something a little more to bring to the table than bourbon's vanilla and floral sweetness. And rye was that one for us. So as soon as we could, we got those barrels over there, and the beer wasn't brewed until we knew we could. Anyway, I think this has been a pretty comprehensive tasting of what we've been up to over the last year. It's been a pretty great retrospective for myself, actually, to taste some of these along with you guys at home, and just see where we started off, see where we've ended up, and knowing what's coming ahead in the next months, in the next year, then it's going to be a belter for sure. But yeah, this has been a wonderful journey. So thank you all, and please finish them all in your own time, and feel free always to write us, let us know. If you can ever make it over to our tap room, we'd love to welcome you here, show you around the whole brewery as we do, and yeah, looking forward to those times. Cheers. 6. See you later.